something that people struggle with the most is the discernment that God gives to his servants and the authority that they speak with because they have the Spirit of God dwelling within them. And really, it's just the calling to become an Ezekiel 2 and 3 watchman. God will put his words in your mouth because you're in obedience to his covenant. And when you do that, you can literally speak on behalf of God. It's not of yourself at all. People always say to me, how can you just assume that this person is doing whatever it is I'm saying that they're doing based on one comment? You don't have faith in the scriptures. I am just having faith in the scriptures. I'm not making anything up about what this person's doing. If the Bible says, when they say this, this is what's going on in their heart, that is discernment. So if the Bible tells me that in the Ezekiel 2 and 3 calling, that they're going to speak to the lost sheep of the house of Israel in plain speech, in their own language, and they're all scattered across the earth, speaking the same language, so in English, and they're not going to be laying stumbling blocks speaking Paleo-Hebrew. When it says that, and you see these people blend in Hebrew, you know that they're not going after the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They're trying to puff themselves up. That is called discernment. So then when you end up saying that, you can discern what's going on in someone's heart. They're not taking their calling. They're being called to go and find the lost sheep. But they don't have the love of their brother or sister in their heart to go and do that because they're trying to puff themselves up and speak partial Hebrew instead of going and speaking plainly to these people in their own language. And when you say that, they say, well, what if they are trying to find the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Like, how would you know? Because it literally says that they're not if they do things like that. That's how I know. It's like the people that go after the feasts, you know that they're not. It says their hands are full of blood. That means they're not fulfilling the royal law. So the people doing the feast and that cannot be corrected when they're confronted about profaning his feasts, their hands are full of blood. I'm not making that up. So if I see someone comment on my video, which we should do the feast everywhere, it doesn't matter that we're not in the land yet. We are the temple. I can then, with the discernment of Isaiah 1 and Isaiah 66, I can then know through the Spirit of God, through his word, being sanctified in his word is truth. I can know that their heart is not for their brothers and sisters, it's for their own belly. That's Ezekiel 34. Is that me being presumptuous and assuming that they don't love their neighbour? No, it says if they do this, this is why. And I'm just declaring it. But that's why Jacob's hated, because the servants are sanctified in the word and they understand prophecy because they have the spirit of prophecy because they actually obey. It's like John 5. Another thing that I've been talking about today actually is people keep saying, I don't think John 5 is talking about a literal name. It's talking about his authority. People not obeying him. He says, I know that you don't have the love of God in you. I know that you don't keep the 10 Commandments, which is the authority. So yes, authority first and foremost. You don't understand the authority that Yeshua came in. You aren't, or you claim to keep the 10 Commandments, but you actually aren't. So you don't actually get the spirit of prophecy that teaches you that he was always going to come in his Father's name and that they were going to forget his name for Baal. That's the spirit of prophecy part. If you had the love of God in you, you would have the spirit of prophecy to then go and read the prophecies I'm quoting about the name of Baal. That's what the Messiah is saying. It is the 10 Commandments first and foremost. It is the authority. But because you don't obey the authority he came in, you will never understand the prophecies of his name being lied about. That's discernment. And yet Paul says, know those who are above you in the Lord, and esteem them highly for their work's sake, for their servant work's sake, because they fulfill the royal law day and night. They likely, their work likely woke you up. So you just keep that in your heart. Like, I'll never forget who God used to wake me up. All I want is to wake people up to the truth. And it's no good. It's like, never watch one of my videos. And that's a good thing about me being this stupid 24-year-old girl that's sat in our jammies at 8:30 at night waiting to put our son to bed. Like, I am not a wise thing in the eyes of this world. I'm not a wise person in the eyes of this world. I don't look like a wise woman. But the testimony of that is that, yeah, I'm not a wise woman. But because I kept the Holy Covenant in faith, His Spirit dwells with me, and now I can teach other women prophecy and set them free. And women are getting set free. Women are waking up. I'm finding my sisters. I'm even finding brothers. And it's a beautiful thing. And that's honestly all I want. But that's sort of the point I was making. It's like, you could never confuse my intellect with why I know what I know. I feel like, anyway. But that's 1 Corinthians 1 for you. He's going to rise up the foolish things of this world, in the eyes of this world, to confound those who think themselves to be wise. It's happening every single day. It is crazy. The people who claim to keep the 10 Commandments, that come against those who truly teach the 10 Commandments. It shows you that they're not keeping the 10 Commandments. These are the people I feel like I'm going after the most recently, because it's so wicked. They've came out of the lies of the apostate church. They've woke up to obedience, but then they actually don't really fully want to obey, so they cling on to the ways of the world. So when they see Jacob truly rising up and obeying in faith, and God is with him teaching him these things because he actually is obeying, it condemns those who knew they're being called to do the same thing, but they're cowards. They won't do it. Their love has waxed cold. They actually don't have the love of the sheep in their heart. They're doing it for themselves. Something's wrong. They're still coveting. There's all sorts of reasons in prophecy. I can't really get into it all right now. But they're the ones that hate the authority that the servants have, because they were supposed to have that same authority. Because it's the Spirit of God. That's the authority. It's not of the person. If you just keep the covenant, He will teach you everything you need to know. And you can speak with authority because you have faith in the Word. Because you're sanctified in the Word.